go off the rails. Did you know it's time to raise our sails? It's freedom like you never knew. 20 bags or a pass. Say the word, I'll be there in a flash. You could say my hat is off for you. Oh, we can zoom all the way to the moon from this great wide wacky world. Jump with me, grab coins with me, oh yeah. It's time to jump up in the air. Jump up, don't be scared. Jump up and your cares will soar away. And if the dark clouds start to swirl, don't feel a shed a tear, 'cause I'll be your one-up girl. So let's all jump up super high, high up in the sky. There's no doubt we're up like dancing. You know that you're my superstar. No one else can take me this far. I'm flipping the switch. Get ready for this song. Let's do the Odyssey.
The engines were finding life difficult. Workmen were mending the viaduct on the main line. The arches needed strengthening. Sir Topham Hatt did not want to close the railway while the work was done, and so repairs took a long time. The engines have to take great care when crossing the viaduct, and the delay often made them late on their journey to the junction, where they knew Thomas would be ready to collect their passengers. Thomas grew crosser and crosser.
Time's time. Why should I keep my passengers waiting while Henry and James dawdle about all day on viaducts?
Don't blame me. If we hurried across the viaduct, it might collapse, and then you'd have no passengers at all. What would you do then?
Run my train on time, for one thing.
He hurried away before Henry could answer. Bertie was impatient too. He was timed to arrive just after Thomas. His passengers found that instead of going straight from the bus to their train, they were kept waiting till Thomas arrived. Soon Bertie grew cross with Thomas.
Late again,
He remarked as Thomas panted tiringly in.
we may be friends, but I thought you can go fast, Thomas. It's time we have another race. I reckon I could beat you now.
Thomas let off steam loudly.
Rubbish. It's those mainline engines. They did a bout on their viaduct and then blames the Topham Hatt's workmen. It's just an excuse for laziness, if you ask me.
One day, James was later than ever at the junction.
I'm sorry, Thomas. I was held up at the station, and the viaduct made it worse.
It's lucky for you I'm a guaranteed connection.
Before James could answer, he puffed importantly away.
Come along, come along.
Annie and Clarabelle did their best, but Thomas soon found that he couldn't save much time. Suddenly, Thomas saw Bertie ahead. His radiator was steaming.
What's the matter? You should be at the station by now. You're late.
I feel dreadful, Thomas. All upset inside, and driver says he can't make me better. Thank goodness you're late too. Can you take my passengers, please? They'll never get home otherwise.
Of course.
He now felt sorry for Bertie and promised to get help at the next station. Thomas set off again. Already he felt more cheerful, and Bertie's passengers, traveling in Annie and Clarabelle, all reached home safely. When Bertie was better, he came to thank Thomas.
I'm sorry I teased you about being late, Thomas.
That's all right. I'm glad I could help. There are times when being late isn't such a bad thing after all.
For the last cheerful greeting, the two friends went back to work.